Hi, boys and girls. I have a book to read to you today that I really enjoy, and it is called Winter Wood by David Spone. And it's all about this little boy, Matt, who goes out to cut and gather wood with his dad. So, we're going to read to find out all about their adventure. And something really cool about this book is that the illustrator actually uses dots to make the pictures. If you look really close, you can see they didn't just paint all over the whole thing, they did tons and tons of little dots. All right, so are you ready to start? Winter Wood by David Spone. And here you can see a tree stump and the axe they're going to cut the wood with. Winter Wood by David Spone. And look, that must be their house right there. Winter Wood. To my grandpa's. That's who the author wrote this book for. Outside the kitchen window, the thermometer says 10 degrees below zero. Birds at the feeder fluff out their feathers in the morning sun. 10 degrees below zero? That is really cold, guys. That is like freezing. You would definitely have water freezing at 10 degrees below zero. So it is so cold. It's actually colder than it's been all year here in Maine. And we have not had a 10 degree below zero day. Inside, Matt and his dad sit at the table and eat their breakfast. It's Saturday morning, time to bring in wood to keep the house warm. After he has finished his oatmeal, Matt buttons up his flannel shirt. Then he pulls on his snow pants and his red wool sweater. Why is he doing that? Because he needs to be nice and warm. Because remember, it's freezing outside, 10 degrees below zero. While Dad sips on the last of his coffee, Matt puts on his boots. Then both of them zip up their jackets, put their stocking hats down over their ears. That's those hats that like roll. That's what those are, stocking hats down over their ears, and wrap their scarves around their necks. So where do you think they're headed? Out to the wood pile to cut up some wood to keep the house nice and warm. They put on gloves and mittens and they are off, down to the wood pile. Dad carries the axe over his shoulder. Matt pulls the sled behind him. So there's Dad. Dad is carrying the axe and Matt's pulling the sled. They get right to work, moving quickly to stay warm. Dad brings the axe down and the wood pops open. A pile of split logs begins to grow. Matt hurries to load the pieces onto the sled. Pretty soon another pile starts. Matt and his dad are getting very warm. They untie their scarves and throw them up on the wood pile. Well that is interesting. It's freezing outside, but they're taking off their scarves? Why would they take off their scarves if it's so cold outside? Now I'm thinking of you friends when you're at recess and you get running around and you get really, really hot. What starts to happen? You get all sweaty, don't you? So I'm thinking that these friends, they're working so hard, they are working up a sweat, and it's making them really, really warm, really hot. So they're taking off their scarves, and they're throwing them up on the wood pile. Matt works hard to load the wood as fast as Dad splits it. Soon both of them are sweating. They unzip their jackets and throw them on the wood pile too. Well, it's freezing outside. They must be working very, very hard. It isn't long before they're both tired. "We need a break," says Dad. They each sit down on a big log to rest for a while. And there they are, resting on. There they are. They're going to go rest on a log. Oh, and there they are, resting on their log. And the air around them is crisp and still and has the smell of dry oak. They sit and talk about wood pile things. What could a wood pile thing be? What does that mean when they talk about wood pile things? Like how nicely the wood splits when it's so cold, and how the sound of steel into wood echoes through the air when you hit it just right. So wood pile things, they're talking about all the things that go along with cutting wood and bringing it in to keep them warm. They watch the birds now darting from tree to tree around them, nuthatches, chickadees, and blue jays. They laugh as they're at their breath as it comes out in little clouds and then vanishes. Raise your hand if you've ever had that happen before. I know I have. Then Dad finds a couple of small pieces of wood for Matt to try. So what's Dad going to let Matt try? To cut his very own wood. Even though the axe is really too big for him, Matt wants to show his dad that he can split wood too. He smiles with pride when the log breaks open at his feet. So he smiles with pride. Do you think he did a good job? I think he did. He broke that log right in two, and now they can use it to keep them warm. And then it's time to get back to work. Matt watches the axe circle through the air. A sharp crack, and the wood splits in half. Matt loads it on the sled as Dad picks up another log. The sun is nearing its highest winter reach. I wonder what that could mean. The sun is reaching its highest winter reach. Oh, do you think that might mean when it's highest in the sky in the wintertime? So the sunniest part of the day. And Dad said, "That's enough for now." They pick up tools and jackets and scarves and head back to the house with the sled full of wood. Wow, look at all that wood that they were able to gather. I think they'll be warm for a long time. Matt leads the way. Dad, moving slower now, pulls the sled. Well, on the way there, Matt pulled the sled and Dad carried the axe. I thought they were doing that to be safe. Why do you think they might have switched now? Why do you think Dad is pulling the sled and Matt is carrying the axe? Why do you think that might be? That's going to be the question I want you to answer today. So what do you think? Why might that be? By lunchtime, the wood box is full. The rest of the wood is stacked just outside the kitchen door. As they load up the stove, Matt thinks he remembers each and every piece they cut. Then Dad tells him again what Grandpa used to say. "Winter wood warms you twice. Once when you cut it." Remember, they were getting all sweaty and warm. "Warms you once when you cut it, and again when you burn it." So it warms you twice. All right, guys, I hope you liked that one. This book was actually given to me by the woman who taught me how to be a teacher, and I just love it. I think it's a beautiful book, and I have a question for you today. I already asked it, but I'm going to repeat it again. Let me open to this page so you can see what's going on. I would like you guys to answer this question for me. All right, so you see Matt, there he is, and you see Dad, there he is, pulling the load of wood. I want you to answer this question for me. Matt pulled the sled to where they cut and gathered the wood, right? He pulled it when they headed over there, and Dad carried the axe. But on the way home here, Matt carried the axe, and his dad pulled the sled. Why do you think they switched jobs on the way back? All right, guys, answer that question. Why do you think they switched jobs on the way back? I hope you like that one, and I hope you have an amazing day. Ready to rock? Bye.